What's good, YouTube? TP Locks here, bringing you guys another video. Yes, today I want to talk to you guys specifically about being married or getting married before 30. There's a lot of people that romanticize this, you guys, and I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of the real, a little background on me, on my current perspective, old perspective, and just share with you guys, hopefully something that'll give you guys a little bit more insight on who I am, okay? So if you're interested in that video, stay tuned. Per usual, you guys, if you have not done so already, hit that subscribe button. Thank you to all my new subscribers, all my old subscribers, everybody supporting the channel. If you have subscribed, also please make sure you hit that notification bell so you stay notified on all the posts the moment I post, okay? Let's get started. When it comes to marriage, you guys, from the moment that we sort of start getting older and growing up and as kids, we see marriage as being this happily ever after. As a result, as kids, adolescents, and young adults, we grow up, a lot of us, really wanting to be married. As a married person, right, it'll be 3 years here, July 15th. I can tell you, as much as I am an advocate for marriage, I am not a person that will falsely put it on this hierarchy like it's the absolute best thing in the world for everyone. That's not the case for everybody. For me, I came from a dual parent household. My mom and dad were both around. I know for a lot of us black men, that's not always the case. Both my parents were in the military. They were high school sweethearts, so that's gonna tell you something. They met in a little town of Gaston, Alabama. That's where all my family's from. And, you know, all my life, on top of all the indoctrination that I was getting, you know, sort of from TV and just the romanticized idea that marriage was happily ever after, I also got real life, like almost like an internship into watching my mom and dad every day, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And as a kid, I gotta tell you guys, man, with all of the good, the bad, and ugly there and being able to observe it, I wanted that. I grew up wanting to be a father. I grew up wanting to be a husband. You know, I grew up wanting to be this just from watching my parents. So as a result, any relationship that I got into from like kindergarten up, any relationship that I got into, I would always look at the girl that I was getting with as a potential wife. I could always project myself in their future. I would always hope that they projected me in their future. I always wanted them to meet my mom, just all that stuff, you guys. And I could tell you, while that trait is absolutely admirable, it's great, you know, these days, that's on some simp shit. No, I'm sorry.
Now, Marcus, I hear a girl dog got you. Why don't you reverse it? Don't be whip that.
I was just kidding. These days, you know, you wouldn't advise your children to think like that. You would advise them to be a little bit more patient. Let things sort of come and happen naturally. Obviously, you want them to value their bodies and not act, you know, with purely free inhibitions. But you wouldn't want them thinking about marriage first. Absolutely not. So when I met my wife in high school, my wife, two very strong parents as well. Different upbringing, but she desired a very similar thing as far as marriage went. She was a person that was not gonna do no hanky panky. I sound like I'm 50. She wasn't gonna do anything sexual before marriage. Nothing. She was such a phenomenal person. She is such a phenomenal person. I'm not really tripping about that in high school. I'm like, okay, well, cool. One of the biggest reasons my wife and I got married is because we both had that desire to be married. Of course, we were high school sweethearts. We broke up about 2 times before we ended up eventually getting back together. In the process of us breaking up, I got a chance and an opportunity to really discover the world. Not only was I a college football player, I also had an opportunity to go to an HBCU and experience there. And as a man, I really had an opportunity to really sort of, I don't want to call it a hoe phase, because, you know, that's really not the best. But I mean, in a way, have a hoe phase. If the hoe phase is personified by just having as much experience as you could possibly get, that's really what it was. I'd say that she had a very similar thing. I mean, she had a relationship, a loving relationship, even tweeted it was the love of her life at one point. Petty. I'm petty. It's okay. No. We both lived our separate lives. And the big thing that made us get married, or at least me, that ended up making me propose, was the fact that I knew her mom, I knew her family, she knew mine. We were great friends coming up. We had a genuine respect for one another and a genuine friendship, and just that common understanding of who we were. But the big reason why I got married so early was because at that point I had lived. I felt like I had experienced my life. I had done what I needed to do. And as far as, you know, this woman who had always been there, she was somebody that I knew I wanted to have my kids. I knew I wanted her to be my wife. I wanted her to be my life partner. When you think about a wife, you guys, fellas, and this is for y'all, it's not about specifically just exterior things. My wife is gorgeous. My wife is beautiful. But the things that, for me, make my wife as amazing as she is the fact that I trust that she can be a leader. If something happened to me, she's going to be able to lead our family. If not better, then I would be able to lead our family. Teaching, she's an amazing teacher as well. She'll be a phenomenal mentor to my daughter. She's a phenomenal mentor to like hundreds of kids in her community. I mean, that was her work before, you know, Layla came. So, you know, I chose a wife based on very important things. I mean, of course, you know, banging body, you know, she had that fatty, you know, I gotta have that. but you know, it's a lot of things that went into that, you know. And so at the young age of, you know, my mid-20s, I was ready. We was ready. We tied that knot. Shortly after, had Layla, and I was ready to do that, you know. And I say all that, you know, all that extra to say that you have to be ready. It was a very specific set of ingredients that made me ready, you know. It started off with parents and finding a phenomenal woman, and then it also happened as a result of a pretty, you know, aggressive, I guess, whole phase, what you would call it. I can tell you guys, there's absolutely nothing wrong with not being married at 30. There's nothing wrong with not being married at 40. You know, you get a lot of people that sort of get down on themselves, men and women, that sort of get down on themselves about not being married. And it's sort of like, man, that'll come. That will come. Two people are sort of in the direction of God. That's really where that union comes from. It's two people walking towards God and sort of bumping into each other along the way. And it's like, oh, okay, you headed that way too? It's like, yeah, I'm headed that way. Like, that's kind of how that goes. People have to understand that marriage is a beautiful thing, but it also comes with work. Well, I would love to say that we get along all the time. I would love to say that. But the reality of it is, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have arguments. Sometimes those arguments last longer than they should. Sometimes we don't talk. Sometimes, like, there's a lot of things. Like, marriage is about consistently having to adjust and learn the person you're with. One of the things that we dealt with, you know, very early in a relationship was the fact that because we were high school sweethearts, I was always under, and I'm only gonna speak for me and my issues, but I was always under the impression that I know her, I know what she's gonna say. And what that creates in turn a lot of times is a lack of willingness to listen rather than hearing somebody. It's a completely different, like, actively listening and hearing somebody and just assuming that you know where they stand. That was a horrible, like, that's a huge error on my, like, a huge flaw of mine. When you're in a marriage, even when it's a high school sweetheart, a person that you've known since childhood, you have to embrace the fact that that person is going to consistently be changing, consistently be growing, consistently have new aspirations. You have to support those things. And that's what marriage is. Like, when you look at marriage, it's the adjustments, it's the balancing, it's the consistent work. You know, having a daughter, I'm telling you guys, kids are great. But one thing I can tell you, kids are indefinitely a block. They block. They make it very difficult for you to get your intimate on. You gotta plan, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta sneak around the corner. When the kid is over there playing, you gotta try to get it. Like, you gotta get it when you can. When it comes to marriage, when it comes to kids and all these things, don't look at it like the grass is greener. If you're out there, if you're single, focus on your goals. Achieve those goals. Try to stay on the path that God wants you to be on. You will bump into that person that's meant for you. I promise you. Fellas, as you continue to climb that successful ladder, ladies, as you consistently climb that successful ladder, you will see people along that way that are headed in that same direction, and you can take that opportunity to meet them and get to know them in that space. But focus on you. Focus on learning yourself, loving yourself. Don't get in a relationship and expect somebody to love you when you don't even love you. You know what I'm saying? I've done a lot of rambling. Hopefully this video is cohesive, but I just wanted to really talk about that briefly. You know, being married before 30 is great. It's amazing. It has been, you know, everything I could have dreamed of and more. But it shouldn't be the goal. It shouldn't be a box that you're looking to check. It shouldn't be happily ever after, because it's work. Well, life is going to be work. God is going to consistently see that you have obstacles in your life that are going to test you, test your faith, and make you stronger. So understand, boys, as long as you know that's going to happen, your mission and your goal should always just be about improving yourself, loving yourself, learning yourself, and just growing, doing your best to become a better individual every day, truly a better individual every day. And I can guarantee you, if that's what you're focused on, the person that you're looking for is going to be right around the corner, all right? But yeah, you guys, hopefully this video gave you a little bit more insight on me, a little bit more insight on my family. I don't know, I probably rambled a little bit too much, but like I said, I want to share more. And you know, these types of videos give me an opportunity to do that. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. TP Locks, signing out.